You ready?
I'd like to call tonight's City of Covington Planning Commission to order. Roll, please.
Mr. Boone?
Here.
Ms. Smith? Absent. Mr. Davidson? Mr. Hanson? Mr. Celestine? Mr. Villery? Mr. Rapp?
Here.
Let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have the approval of the minutes from the May 15th, 2023 meeting. Commissioners, do you have any amendments or changes to note? If not, I will entertain a motion.
I'll second it.
In a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Boone?
Yes.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes.
Mr. Hanson? Mr. Celestine? Mr. Villery?
Yes.
Mr. Rapp?
Yes.
Okay, we have one case tonight. The case is case number 23-05-02, minor subdivision. It was tabled from the May 15th, 2023 meeting. A request for preliminary minor subdivision approval for the subdivision of the 8.417 acre plat of land located at the end of Phillip Drive in section 38 T6-S R-11-E in the city of Covington, parish of St. Tammany. Note per Appendix A subdivision, section 3.5, minor subdivision applications and procedures, C 1 and 4B. The petitioner is requesting that the Planning Commission combine the preliminary plat approval and the final approval. The petitioner is Paul Sweat, owner is DMJM Land LLC, Mike Center. Commissioners, just to set the stage, this was what was, as I just said, tabled, and therefore I will open with having the city make any comments that they need to. Nothing was amended.
I
Yes,
just
sir.
wanted to advise the commission that I did speak to both the building inspector and the city engineer and confirmed that prior to issuance of any type of building permit, a drainage plan will be required to be submitted, and that the city engineer must approve the drainage plan and any requisite attention prior to issuance of a building permit. I know that was one issue that came up last month in regards to this property to the south.
Commissioners? Yep. You have any questions? Mr. Sweat, you want to speak? Or you
Come up to say, but
you didn't amend anything, so I'm not sure
no, I didn't,
if you want.
Paul Sweat, 58 Hyacinth Drive, Covington, Louisiana. I think Mr. Rod said it perfectly. Stay on task. This is just a subdivision. I'm not building or doing anything with the property except trying to get a tenant to pay some taxes. So I really appreciate y'all's help.
I
Thank you.
understand. Okay, Commissioners?
My only comment is, in the ordinance, and I think I sent it to everybody, for my comments on the minor subdivision. Minor subdivision, it still goes through preliminary and final approval. It has to meet all the regulations that we have in the city. One is, you can't have a private road. It's very specific. It's, it's very clear. I think everybody knows that now, or should know that now. And I just talked to Mr. Sweat and Mr. Center and said, the portion of the driveway that comes down, the 60-foot servitude, needs to be dedicated to the city. And what I would do tonight is make a motion to approve the subdivision as per allowing a dedication of a portion of that area to access Plot B. Now, if Plot B was sold with Plot C, then you wouldn't need it. It would just, you have access as it is. But because you need to have some sort of dedication down. We need to also waive the requirement for a cul-de-sac, because you can't have a dead-end road without a cul-de-sac. We need to waive the requirement of the city building the street to city standards. And we should also put on the plat that the street is to be maintained by one of the owners, however, whatever owner they have. I mean, they're going to have to put that into their sales agreement. Somebody's got to maintain the gravel access. So we don't need to specify what type of road they put. You can put whatever road you want, it just needs to be maintained by somebody, and it just needs to be put on the plat, not maintained by the city. And I'm willing to make those motions right now, and I'm, you know, it's just a dedicate, just enough portion so that all 3 lots have access to a dedicated road.
Roderick, you have any comments to make from the,
Well, I understand Mr. Villery's position. I know the city engineer has put in her report that she doesn't object to the private access services. And, you know, frankly, that has been the city's approach historically on minor subdivisions. The only reason y'all even got to see this is because it's more than 5 acres, or it would have been approved by planning department. So, and I don't disagree with your good point, Keith. I'm just saying historically, on minor stuff, we've allowed private services.
Well, I mean, I don't understand how you can allow something that's not illegal in the ordinance. You heard the chairman who was talking to Peter Lewis about, we all took an oath too, to follow the rules, follow the law. And that's the law. And because you didn't know it before, you know it now.
is that part of this, is that part of what has to be on here if that was the case?
Well, I certainly don't disagree with the aspect of the maintenance, that it's going to be a privately maintained road. Keith, can you refer me to that section again? Do you know where it is?
Well, I sent it to everybody.
Well, I know you did.
Let me see, I got it on my phone. Because I mailed it to myself. 'Cause my
So
friend
the
that
amendment,
wasn't-
let me get this straight. The amendment you're wanting to make is the road itself, that's it, private.
They need to have
They
dedicated
relied-
right.
Right, okay.
I wouldn't do that if I were you right now. I think what they rely on in the plat is minor subdivision applications. The subdivision is served by existing utilities and does not require the extension of streets. That's the approach they've taken on minor subdivisions that,
No, or does not have to be, it has to have, what, a minor subdivision has to have access to a public street. That's what it says.
it has access to the end of Phillip Drive. I'm saying with the position they've taken is that has allowed them to say, if it's minor, if it's 4 lots or less, you've got a public street access, you can have private internally. That's what they've done in the past. Now, that's all I can point out.
Well, I mean, I read the ordinance. And the ordinance says to have a minor subdivision, you have to have access to a public street and public utilities. Now, there's no public utilities because they don't have them. So that's not an issue. But you have to have access to a public street. And I think that, you know, personally, I'm not going to vote for anything that has a private road or is accessed by a servitude because that's not what the law says. Well, it's pretty explicit. I mean, it says there shall be. It's not may, it's a shall. There shall be no private streets, and it's in the subdivision regs. And just because we're going through preliminary and final, this is not like a re-subdivision back in the old days when you just had a re-subdivision. It's preliminary and final, and you can put them together if you want. And we could put them together. I mean, I don't have a problem putting them together, and all we're really talking about is getting a dedicated right-of-way and waiving the requirements for a cul-de-sac and waiving the requirements for the road to be built up to city standards and put on the plat that somebody within the 3 lots is going to maintain the road. I'll show it to you. You want me to?
No. Look, Mr. Sweat, do you want to say anything about his comments? What is your comment about what he's saying as far as your willingness to or not?
My only comment was to say that I just bought this road for the city. Like 6 months from ago, paid $34,000 to buy Phillip Drive that my grandfather dedicated in the 70s. I feel like I'm really.
Well, you're not dedicating the whole road
I'm not
back.
dedicating the whole road, I understand that, but it's tough. But if that gets me through, I'm fine with his recommendations.
Well,
I think it's fair. I think it's
Yeah, I think it's a win for everybody.
well, with that being said, I'll,
You have a motion on the floor, need a second.
I have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? We have a second. Roll call?
Mr. Boone?
Yes.
Mr. Davidson? Mr. Hanson? Mr. Celestine? Mr. Villery?
Yes.
Mr. Rock?
Now, if this is the final plat, you need to have dimensions, or the dimensions down here in L3. Okay, so L13 is 185 feet. And, you know, we could even waive the width of the right-of-way if we wanted to make another motion. I don't have a problem making, I just want to make it access. I just want to be consistent. I was consistent with the one that.
I don't want to
was
change the second from the first. We have one and then the final, so,
Well, no, you got it. He just
Yeah,
has to
that's
show
it.
it on the plat dedicated to the public.
Yeah.
That's
for the
fine, it's
depth
just showing.
Necessary to accommodate 3 lots, and then put a road to be properly maintained, and you're finished.
That's it.
that's fine.
That's what we made the motion.
Okay,
Bam, finished.
Done.
done.
Move to adjourn. Excuse me.
Any other business? No? Everybody prevented the train, okay. Then we will call tonight's meeting over. All those adjourned, bye.